election. They waited. And I probably have another one. They say there's a young woman, a young racist in Atlanta. She's a racist. And they say, I guess, they say that she was after a certain gang, and she ended up having an affair with the head of the gang or a gang member. And this is a person that wants to indict me. She's got a lot of problems, but she wants to indict me to try and run for some other office. What's going on in this country is, and by the way, wants to indict me for a perfect phone call. This was even better than my perfect call with Ukraine. Remember?
Here's why Trump's fourth indictment is different. Unlike his other three indictments, the case in Georgia relies on Rico laws, which stands for Racketeer, Influenced, and Corrupt Organizations Act. It requires prosecutors to show a pattern of criminal activity rather than an isolated crime. In Trump's case, prosecutors are claiming he and 18 of his allies were part of a criminal enterprise to overturn the results of the 2020 election. The indictment covers a call Trump made in 2021 to Georgia's Secretary of State, in which he asked him to find enough votes for him to win the election. It also details efforts by Trump's campaign to recruit new presidential electors to try and switch Georgia's results from Biden to Trump. Because this indictment is based on Rico, the stakes are higher, since it carries a minimum sentence of 5 years and can go up to 20 years in prison. And because it's at the state level, there's a chance we could have a criminal trial of a sitting president if Trump wins the election in 2024.
What's up, y'all? So, Travis wanted me to talk about this here and give my thoughts on this up-and-coming presidential debate and what I think about the Republican Party. Okay, so my thing is they're going to take a L. That's what I see. First of all, let's start with Ron DeSantis, right? He is too extreme, too much of an open white supremacist to where even white people is looking at him sideways. And it's like, you're doing too much. Because when you're too open with white supremacists, with white supremacy, it keeps black people alarmed and it makes it very hostile. So one of DeSantis' biggest donors, right? He warned that he's going to stop funding the campaign, which his campaign was overfunded to begin with. I mean, it was already a waste of money because he was doing this from the get-go. He was already being too over the top, too over extreme. The immigrants, they're not right. Well, they voted him in, but after what had happened, a lot of those business owners, they crying now. A lot of them business owners in Florida, a lot of the immigrants, they're not feeling him now. And then on top of that, the women population, he doesn't stop abortion after 6 weeks. And I'm thinking that's for any cause. I'm not big on abortion. I don't agree with it unless it's like for special cases, like rape or something. But I think he said even for cases like that you still can't get one. So he's losing tourism in Florida. So me personally, I feel like his whole political career is going down the drain with this, just from him being too extreme. This is what one of the biggest donors of this campaign said. He does need to shift to get to moderates. He'll lose if he doesn't. Extremism isn't going to get you elected, Bigelow said in an interview, adding that he had communicated these concerns to the DeSantis campaign. So, he got this whole campaign against the woke, but he's not offering anything tangible to anybody, to any other people. He's just being very extreme. Basically like just being a straight up Nazi. And people is like, nah, you're being too overt. You're being too extreme. It's a code. You know, white people, even white people, man, they have a code. And if you're being too overt and too open, they don't like that because they like to use manipulation. They like to keep you confused. They don't like to be overt because that way you can be rocked to sleep. Listen, one day I was working at this job, right? It was a little temp service job. It was like a few years back. And, you know, it was this dude. Of course, he was a right-wing dude. He was a hardcore Trump supporter. And, you know, he just used to say what was on his mind. And it didn't bother me. I like people being honest about who they are and telling me who they are up front, so I know how to deal with it effectively. And it personally didn't bother me. But I heard another white dude said, "Oh yeah, the dude cool, but he just speak out of code too much." Which lets you know they have a code. They don't like you to be too overt with your racism, especially around black people. And black people see that because they know if you're being too overt and too extreme and you back black people into a corner, it's going to be dangerous. Montgomery boat brawl, come on. Go back to 2014, 2015, 2016, with all the uprisings. We was at a point to where we felt like we was back to a corner to where, man, we just had enough. And that's why all them uprisings started to come. The 60s. Felt like we was backed into a corner. It was just too overt. And we just got to the point to where we was like, man, we not taking this no more. But I digress. So, not only do we have this whole thing with Ron DeSantis taking the L, the only hope for the Republican Party is Trump. Like everybody else in the Republican Party is basically invisible. It was mainly just them two. And Trump is basically is getting indicted. So let me pull up Trump. What's going on with Trump real quick, right? Cause I seen to where he got like, he got 40 counts on him. Give me 1 second, y'all. So, alright. It says Trump and 18 co-defendants charged with racketeering in Georgia 2020 election probe. So, former President Donald Trump and top allies, including lawyer Rudy Giuliani and his former White House chief of staff Mark Meadows and a former Justice Department officer Jeffrey Clark were indicted Monday on felony charges in connection with efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential elections results in Georgia. The sweeping 41-count indictment also names lawyers John Eastman, Sidney Powell, Kenneth Chesbrough, Gianna Ellis, Ray Smith, along with the several others. All were charged with violating Georgia's Rico, Racketeering, Influencing, Corrupt Organization Act. So, they've been charged with 41 counts. So, I mean, it's not looking good for Trump. I don't see it. I don't see it going anywhere with Trump. Just because he was the only hope, and he might not even make it to the debate. And if he's not gonna be at the debate, then of course, I mean, it's not even gonna be entertaining to watch. Nobody is not even gonna watch that GOP debate. So yeah, and then that whole thing is a mess, because I think the person who was doing the Rico on YSL, one of the prosecutors was involved, and basically Trump called her out for having an affair with one of the YSL members. So it's crazy, man. It's crazy. So I would say, as far as black people, I would say the best bet will most likely be Cornel West. Like I said, I still gotta look into him some more before I completely advocate with him. But I seen parts of the interview on Breakfast Club, and he seemed pretty solid to me. But I still want to do some more research to see like exactly what he's going to bring to the table for black people. But if he's bringing some solid tangibles to the table for black people, I feel like we should most definitely rally behind him and vote for him, because the way that they're setting this up, from what I can see, is basically, from what I've seen, I'm thinking Kamala may take over. They may try to get Biden in there another time, and then something mysteriously happen to him, and then Kamala takes over. And then we're going to have a woman president. And you know how Kamala, she does not have no good track record with black people at all. So it's going to be real ugly. But yeah, man, I just wanted to get my 2 cents on that. But y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments. And if you like the content, give it a like and a subscribe. Peace.